Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a WASSCE Mathematics 2025 past question. We're going to tackle solving a quadratic equation by factorization, and we'll do it step by step using some awesome resources from QandAHelp.com. So let's get straight into the numbers and get you fully prepped. Here's the exact problem we're looking at. Solve d squared minus 4d minus 96 equals 0. And we've got our four multiple choice options, A, B, C, and D, giving us different positive and negative combinations of 8 and 12. Since this is a quadratic equation, we know we're hunting for two possible values for D. Keep those option numbers in the back of your mind, because once we do the math, we'll be matching our final roots right back to them. You know, what's actually really great about this specific equation is how simple it is when you break it down into its core parts. The coefficient of our d squared term, it's just a 1. Then our middle term is negative 4d, and our constant term sitting at the end is negative 96. And here's a massive hint for you. Because that d squared coefficient is just 1, our whole factorization process is going to be incredibly straightforward.
Okay, so what's the actual goal here? To factorize this, we need to find a very specific pair of numbers. And they have to meet two strict rules. First, they absolutely must multiply together to give us our constant term, which is negative 96. And at the exact same time, they need to add together to give us our middle term, negative 4. Multiply to negative 96, add to negative 4. That's the mission.
So let's think about the factors of 96. We've got pairs like 1 and 96, 2 and 48, moving down through 3 and 32, 4 and 24, 6 and 16, all the way to 8 and 12. Now, we test those pairs to see which one gives us a sum of negative 4. And look at that, it becomes pretty obvious. The winning pair is positive 8 and negative 12. Let's just double check the math to be totally sure. Positive 8 times negative 12, yep, that's exactly negative 96. Positive 8 plus negative 12, that gives us our negative 4. We've found the perfect pair. But hold on a second, because this right here is a massive trap that catches so many talented students. Positive 8 and negative 12 are what we call the splitting pair. They are absolutely not your final answer. Please do not rush and circle an option with those signs. We are just using these numbers to split our middle term so we can actually start factorizing. Let's see how this splitting actually works in practice. We take our original equation, d squared minus 4d minus 96 equals 0. Now we use our pair to replace that middle term. So it becomes d squared plus 8d minus 12d minus 96 equals 0. The brilliant thing here is that we haven't changed the actual value of the equation at all. Positive 8d minus 12d is literally just negative 4d. We've just expanded it out to make the next step possible. Next up, we group them. Think of it like teaming them up. We put brackets around the first two terms to get d squared plus 8d. Then we take the last two terms, pulling out the negative, to get 12d plus 96 inside a bracket. Now we factor out the common elements from each team. From the first group, we can pull out a d, which leaves us with d plus 8. From the second group, we pull out a 12, which also perfectly leaves d plus 8. Notice how both of those brackets match exactly? That tells us we are 100% on the right track. Because both of our groups share that exact same d plus 8 bracket, that's our golden ticket. We can factor it out as a single unit. We just take the d and the minus 12 that were hanging out in front, and we package them into their own brand new bracket. So now our equation is super clean. Bracket d minus 12 times bracket d plus 8 equals 0. We essentially transformed a long addition and subtraction problem into a simple multiplication one. All right, time for the final mathematical step. When you have two brackets multiplying to give 0, algebra tells us that at least one of those brackets just has to be 0. So we solve for each one independently. First, if d minus 12 equals 0, then d has to be positive 12. Second, if d plus 8 equals 0, then d must be negative 8. And there it is, our final values for d are exactly 12 and negative 8. Now, if we scan those initial WASSCE options we started with, we can clearly see that our calculated roots match option C perfectly. D equals negative 8, 12. Boom, problem solved, with the math to back it up.
Section 1, the WASSCE shortcut, a quick recap.
Okay, so we walked through the proper step-by-step logic, but for a timed exam, you need the shortcut. Let's rapidly summarize this so it becomes second nature. Step 1, find your splitting pair. Ours was positive 8 and negative 12. Step 2, since the d squared coefficient was 1, you just drop those numbers straight into your factorized brackets. D minus 12 and d plus 8 equals 0. Step 3, solve for your final roots by just flipping the signs inside those brackets. -12 becomes +12, +8 becomes -8. Once you master the foundation, this shortcut is a total game changer. Section 2, quick quizzes. Your turn. All right, you've seen how it works, so now it's your turn to build that confidence. Quick quiz 1. Solve x squared minus 5x minus 24 equals 0. Remember the goal here. Think of two numbers that multiply to give our constant, -24. And those exact same numbers have to add up to our middle coefficient, -5. Take a quick second. What's the splitting pair? Let's see how you did. Step 1. Your splitting pairs should be +3 and -8. Why? Because 3 times -8 is -24, and 3 minus 8 is -5. Step 2. Drop them into the brackets. X minus 8 times x plus 3 equals 0. And step 3, flip the signs for the final roots. X equals +8 or -3. Great job if you nailed that. Let's hit one more just to completely lock this in. Quick quiz 2, solve p squared plus 7p plus 10 equals 0. Keep your eyes on the prize. We need two numbers that multiply to +10 and add to +7. Everything is positive here, so this one should be a breeze. Got the numbers? Here's the breakdown for that one. Step 1, that splitting pair is +5 and +2. Step 2, factorize that straight into p plus 2 times p plus 5 equals 0. And step 3, solve for p by flipping those signs to get our final roots. P equals -2 or -5. Honestly, you're getting really good at this. So, zooming all the way back out to our main WASSCE 2025 question, 12 and -8. These are the final correct roots we calculated for d squared minus 4d minus 96 equals 0, which absolutely confirms our correct option is C. Huge congrats on conquering this math problem today. You followed the logic flawlessly. For even more exam mastery, you should definitely head over to QandAHelp.com to prep for your WAEC, JAMB, and GCE exams. So to wrap this explainer up, I'll leave you with this. Now that you've got these powerful factorization tools in your belt, what other WASSCE mathematical mysteries are you going to solve next?